You're about to listen to the Dr. Dahlia Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Dahlia Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Dahlia.
And we are back at Dr. Dahlia Show, 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So I taught my boys how to drive, and I taught them how to drive early. I taught them how to drive well, but you forget that they're in the car when you're driving. And the bad habit I taught my kids was how to do a California stop. Well, you don't necessarily stop at the stop sign, but you roll. My speeding, how I get out of a ticket. Hard for my boys to get out of a ticket because, boy, was I really being flirty. But now I can't because I look like an old woman. But I have an issue where one of my boys is like, I don't need to speed, Mom. In fact, one of my boys, when he drives and I'm driving with him, we're in a hurry. I'm like, just pass this car and go. And he's like, Mom, I'm not going to speed. I'm like, yeah, but you have an open lane. And you know what? And I get really frustrated. With my other son, though, I like driving with him because he gets it. He's like, if the left lane is open and the right lane, and I have still a quarter mile left before my exit, I can move over there and over there. He's good. However, he's got another speeding ticket. But this time, this wasn't from a cop. This was from our homeowners association. And I really want to teach him to not speed. I don't like him speeding. I've yelled at him for it. I don't want him speeding. It's, do as I say and not as I do. I just don't want him speeding. And he got nailed for going 32 miles an hour in a 25, not even a school zone. He went 7 miles per hour in the home area. And as I told you, we have homeowners association where all they do is they sit there and watch and take pictures. And so I'm trying to figure out how do I teach him a lesson to not speed. And because he's in his 20s. I mean, he should know now. Yeah, my other son, he figured it out. And I think he figured it out when he, ran into a building one time. He's okay. But my son, thank God, hasn't been in any accidents. It's just, unfortunately, he's, thinking to himself, and by everybody else speeds that. Now they nailed me, and I went to the hearing. And this was during COVID. And I think they were shocked that I wanted to contest it because I was only a few miles over. And I explained to them the reason why I sped was, one, is there's a lot of ducks that sit there in military formation. And if you don't want the ducks to attack you, you're going to, after you enter the residential area, you're going to probably gun it because you're going to be attacked by the ducks. And the other issue why I was speeding was because the guards are very sexy. And I go, look, I'm a married woman. Okay, I'm just trying to stay faithful to my husband, and you persist on hiring, these good-looking security guards. So, yeah, I'm going to gun it so I don't get tempted by the eye candy that you have sitting there. And so after I explained to them, they got it, and it was a valid excuse for my speeding. Like, if you don't want people to speed, hire less good-looking security guards and get rid of the ducks. And they did that. So the security guards are getting better looking again. But my son, I don't want him to speed. I want to teach him a lesson. So I'm going to have him go through the hearing. I'm not going to tell him to just pay the fine. I'm going to tell him to go through it because I really want to ingrain in his memory. But on the flip side, I'm very straight with my kids. And I like to call it when I call it. I mean, this isn't going 65 in a school zone or a 35 mile an hour residential area. He went 32, 33. Come on. And so I don't want him to think that, I'm on the side of the homeowners association. That's going to be a cold day in hell when I ever take the homeowners association side. And so I want to tell him this is kind of ridiculous, but you got to follow the rules. You got to pay the piper. You got to do whatever. And so, but if you have a kid that speeds, they're 16, 17, 20, 25, how do you, I've been in enough car accidents where I'm starting to slow down when I drive. But, what I've seen as an ER doc and in my training, it's dangerous. And I've tried to show them pictures. But when you have a child that doesn't really have that kind of, firsthand or secondhand experience, which we never want them to do, how do you get them to stop speeding? And so I think first and foremost is make them pay for their car insurance. 2, make them, pay for the car. 3, make them go to the hearings. My very first speeding ticket I got from UNLV campus police. And I really wasn't speeding. I was going to work, and I probably was speeding. But I decided to fight it. So I go to the courthouse, and the judge threw it out. And I was like, okay, so I should fight these things. The problem is I lost a half a day to do so. And I got to tell you, after that, I never sped on campus. Although UNLV started to cut off the roads so you can't drive through the roads anymore. Because I worked at the EPA, and the EPA was on campus. And so I had to kind of book it to get to work because I didn't want to be late because I was, anyway. That's neither here nor there. So if you guys have any ideas on how to get your kid to stop speeding, because we can't whoop their asses anymore. That's something that, that's how my parents handle it. They go, you speed, we whoop your butt. That we don't do that anymore with especially when they're older. And so, and they're adults. But if you do have, first-hand experience, if there is, let's say, if there's a car accident on the road, see, I slow down and stop. I slow down to look at the car accidents. And I let my kids see what that looked like. I want them to see what I saw. Oh, that's too traumatizing. I got to tell you, I don't know how driver's ed is, but when I was in driver's ed, I remember in Phoenix, Arizona, they showed us pictures of dead teenagers halfway out of their vehicles and smashed between trees. And I just remember that 1980s, because it was an older video, and I was in driver's ed late 80s. And I remember seeing these pictures and of the 70s, and those cars were monsters back then, and it scared me. I also remember that they showed us what happens when you get thrown from a vehicle at 25 miles per hour, and they took a cantaloupe, and they threw the cantaloupe out of the car, and the cantaloupe hit the asphalt at 25 miles per hour and exploded. And they go, that's what happens if you don't wear your seatbelt. And I was like, oh, man. I was like, gosh, I don't want that to happen to my cantaloupe. If I go grocery shopping, that could be. So now I actually buckle in the cantaloupe because I'm buckled in, but I'm so worried that my fruit, that's going to happen to the fruit. That was really traumatizing to me. So try to get pictorial, try to get descriptive, and have your kids own up. Don't pay their ticket and don't pay their insurance. Let them feel it. 1-877-Doc-Dolly, don't go away.
Hi, everyone. Super Bowl champ Vernon Davis here from Legal Help Center. If you've been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, listen up, because we have legal professionals standing by right now to answer your questions for free. You can find out if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. The call is free, the consultation is free, and you can speak with a live agent right now. So if you or someone you know were injured in an accident of any kind, call now to find out if you have a case and how much you could potentially get.
Thanks, Vernon. You heard it, folks. If you've been injured, call and find out how much you qualify for. Call 800-679-0800. That's 800-679-0800. 800-679-0800. Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states. Not available in California.
Hi, it's Mark Falter, host of the Financial Fitness Show. I strongly believe that no one should ever pay 1 penny more in taxes than they are legally obligated. Unfortunately, for most hardworking Americans, this just isn't the case. Why? Because most people spend more time planning next weekend's getaway than trying to ensure they're going to pay less in taxes. My financial fitness team has put together some materials that I know are going to help you. It's the Tax Savings Kit. Tax Savings Kit includes 3 things: free tax analysis, top 10 ways to pay less in taxes, and an investor's guide to taxes. Now, how do you get it? Simple. 866-764-2635. Again, 866-764-2635. I'm Mark Falter. This is Financial Fitness, making personal finance profitable.
back on the Dr. Dahlia Show, 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer, and big thanks to y'all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or X at Dr. Dahlia, Facebook, The Dr. Dahlia Show, and on YouTube, click like and subscribe. So we talk about nurse burnout. We talk about doctor burnout. We talk about dentist burnout. What about our veterinarians? And I got to tell you, the veterinarians who have taken care of my pets, man, I mean, I can barely get through the trials and tribulations with them. I can't imagine what these vets have to go through. They have got to be just overworked and exhausted. And do we thank our vets? You know, our veterinarians are there for us. We go to them for their expertise, and they have demands on their job and stressors as anybody else in the healthcare world. So there is a new national effort to help generate support for veterinarian well-being. I love this. It's encouraging pet owners to share their thanks this World Veterinary Day and beyond. So joining us to share how pet lovers can share their appreciation for their pets is Purina veterinarian, Dr. Callie Harris. Dr. Harris, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Man, God bless you. And I got to tell you, I mean, I love my pets, but they're pains in the tushy. I can't imagine you doing that all day long. You know, talk to us about some of the pressures you and veterinarians are facing.
Yeah, I love that. And listen, we all experience pets in our own households being pains in the tushy, so you are not alone with that sentiment. But honestly, as veterinarians, you know, our work is more than just a job. This is truly a passion, a calling for us, really to come and care for animals. And for many of us, we knew that we wanted to be veterinarians early on in our childhood. And so this is, again, just something that we knew what we were signing up for, and we're happy to be here, and we're happy to be, you know, really just that family doctor, if you think about it. But in our day-to-day, these moments not are only just happy, right, you know, just experiencing the good times, we're also experiencing some of those hard moments with pet owners. We're right alongside you guys, and this is going to take out that emotional toll on us as well. And some surveys have actually shown that 75% of vets experience some level of burnout at some point in their career. And with it being World Vet Day coming up on April 25th, this just felt like an excellent time to recognize the essential role that vets play in the lives of our pets and also in our communities.
I love it. You know, when we've had to put a pet down, you know, I'm not the one that has to do it. I hand it over to the vet. And for you guys to see that, and it, you know, it's not easy. It's not easy. I mean, us as a human doctor, you know, I don't necessarily do euthanasia, you know, in my practice. So I see patients die, but I'm not there to, you know, so it's a much different you know, stressor, and also in terms of, you know, you being, you know, you're a part of our health. So when a person who loves pets, you know, loses a pet or has a pet who's sick, you're helping them because that pet helps them from a health standpoint. So you are an integral part of the whole healthcare process.
Absolutely. We look at it as One Health, right? And, you know, I talk a lot about this just on a personal level, about that mutually beneficial relationship that we refer to as the human-animal bond. And there's so much benefit and positivity that having pets in our families truly do bring to every single person in the household. And so when I have, you know, young folks that are interested in becoming veterinarians and they say, oh, I want to work as a veterinarian because I don't really like people, I say, well, you're going into the wrong job. Because, you know, we're truly the family practitioner. It's not just the animals that you're taking care of. It's also the people who love them.
Exactly. Plus, you have to be on the lookout for assault. You have to be on the lookout for neglect. You have to, just as we do, you know, in medicine. Yeah, and it's interesting because people ask why I didn't go into pediatrics or veterinary as well. And I was like, because I didn't want the added stress of the caretaker. It's easier for me to just deal with the patient head on, but having the parent or having the pet lover parent, that's a lot of stress. And, you know, pet owners trusting your vets, there's a disconnect. You know, talk to us about why that happens when, you know, we're so grateful to you, but why is there that disconnect?
Yeah, it's almost like a yin and yang relationship, right? Because I do believe that pet parents in general truly do admire and appreciate veterinarians. In fact, a recent survey showed that 94% of animal owners actually do value the work of veterinarians. But you and I both know, especially with you being in medicine, we don't always show up and say how we feel every moment of the day, right? And so even though I might be out there saving that pet's life, there's a lot of stress that may come along with that experience for the pet owner. And so they may just forget or just not, put a focus on really expressing how they feel. And so, about 49% of veterinary professionals kind of experience this where we don't feel like our profession is truly appreciated. And so ProPlan Veterinary, we're working tirelessly to try and change that.
I love that. So what can people do to help recognize and honor you guys?
It's going to be so simple. I mean, you're going to love this. It's going to sound a little bit cliche, but really just by taking a moment and saying thank you. That's it. We're a very humble group of people. We went into it, like I said before, because this is truly what we're passionate about. We don't need our flowers handed to us every single day, but really just taking a moment and expressing that gratitude. And so ProPlan Vet, we are actually inviting pet lovers to show their vets some love. You can visit thanks.proplanvet.com. You have through May 31st to share this message of just appreciation for your veterinarian. You can get the whole family involved. You can have your kids draw a picture and kind of identify what it means to them to have a veterinarian in their life. And for every message that we receive, we're going to donate $1 up to $50,000 to our nonprofit partners in the ProPlan Vet Support Mission. And you can also have nominate their favorite vet clinic for a chance to win that $10,000 donation. So some really great opportunities here.
I love it. I also want to give a shout out to Purina because I didn't know what to feed the dogs and the cats. And the Purina, they've kept them healthy. I have cats that have lived 18 years, 16 years. And so I'm really, really grateful for, because with all these commercials now, you're feeding the animals the wrong food, you're feeding this. I have had only good with Purina products. So I just want to give a shout out to Purina as well for that. Yeah.
That makes me so happy to hear, and I appreciate that vote of confidence for sure.
And again, it was a vet who I'm a family doctor. I could think I know enough. I don't. It took a vet telling me you need to feed, your pet this. One thing that patients always ask me is, what do they do that I guess interferes or stresses the family doctor out, when they come in, what sort of, behavior should they have and, or willingness to listen. So same thing with vets. Is there anything that pet owners do that you would, or that you like them doing because it helps the visit go smoother for you?
That's such an interesting and really a great question, Doctor, because I think there's a lot of things that I appreciate from my pet owners. First of all, just showing up, right? Showing up in a space of receiving the information. There's so much misinformation. You know this everywhere on social media, depending on who you talk to, everybody has an opinion on everything. And I actually don't mind my pet owners, getting initial information from social media, but then having the understanding to go to the actual subject matter expert, which will be a veterinarian, to ask all these tough questions, from everything with nutrition to vaccines, how, we provide wellness, what do we do from a financial standpoint. And so I think, again, just really coming in a spirit of listening and seeking to understand is something that I really value in my pet owners.
I know you can't, tell your secrets like magicians do, but one thing I don't understand is my cats would run from every adult. But when I bring my cats into the vet, they will rub up and love any vet. Do you guys have like a magic perfume? Catnip?
We have a few tips. We have a few tools in our toolkit, but one of the things that I'm very passionate about from a behavior standpoint is just becoming certified in promoting more of an experience that's going to lessen that anxiety and fear and stress in my hospital setting. And so there's a lot of different aspects to that, and it starts actually even before our patients show up to our vet practices. We really try to work hard with our pet parents for them to understand, how we can really alleviate, again, some of those triggers that might cause, pets to feel a little bit uncomfortable with going to the vet. And then also, too, treats never hurt. I'm always keeping something in my pocket to help encourage maybe a little bit of a shy pet.
I love it. We're talking to Dr. Kelly Harris, veterinarian and pet expert. In the final minute, anything else you'd like to share with my listeners?
Yeah, so I just want everyone to know that the veterinary profession, we continue to face some really tough challenges, but that is why having partners like the ProPlan Veterinary Support Mission, which was launched back in 2024, this gives an opportunity to focus on removing obstacles that veterinarians often face in practice. And so through that ProPlan Vet Support Mission, we actually had more than $3.5 million donated to programs that are addressing these challenges in vet med. And so our goal is really just to give vets that support so then they can go back to doing what they enjoy doing most, which is caring for pets.
And what's the website again?
Yes, it is thanks.proplanvet.com.
Love it. Thank you, Dr. Harris. Can't wait to have you back, and God bless you for all you do.
We share the science behind common diesel problems and their solutions. For example,
Diesel fuel cetane levels.
in many states, the cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts. Due to a cleaner burn, there are less hydrocarbons and particulate matter in your exhaust. This reduces the blockage of your diesel particulate filter. Using Diesel Extreme generates 83% less DPF regenerations. The 6-in-1 Diesel Extreme formula also includes the most concentrated detergent on the market, lubricity enhancer, water demulsifier, rust and corrosion inhibitors, and a fuel stabilizer.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com.
Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
And we're back on the Dr. Dahlia Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer. And big thanks to you all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on X or Twitter at Dr. Dahlia, Facebook, The Dr. Dahlia Show, and on YouTube. Click like and subscribe. So I am impressed with our next guest. Wow. We have Mohammed Abu Lazoud, known as Mo. When he was only 27 years old, he built the first prototype for a neurostimulator that enhances cognitive performance. And this is backed by Johns Hopkins. And this is an amazing invention and something that I think can really, really help. So I'm really, really excited to introduce Mo. Mo, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Dr. Dahlia. Thank you so much for the intro.
Wow. You know, we spoke about how my one of my buddies from medical school, had taken his life and he was drug resistant or with treatment resistant. And so, we're looking for outside the box, other ways to treat mental illness. Talk to us about what, incited you and encouraged you, as you've seen in terms of mental health changes since COVID and what we've seen over the last few years.
Yeah, especially for my generation, but also everybody, we're so isolated nowadays. Everybody is locked in, and COVID taught us the behavior of staying in your house all the time is normal. We kind of internalize the idea that we don't really have to leave. We don't really have to socialize, or if we socialize, we can do it through the internet. And that plus social media just created this cocktail where COVID created this sort of permanent change of isolation that we're trying to leave, So I definitely see mental health being, becoming a real problem because it's become a habit, a habit to be inside.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's one of the biggest epidemics we've seen since COVID. You've had a personal journey with mental health. If you don't mind, talk to us about that.
Yeah, so I went to Ohio State and I was studying neuro, but I was suffering from severe depression. I was diagnosed bipolar. And, you know, a lot of young men my age were trying to find solution, young men and women, and the medications weren't helping at all. So I was actually 20 when I built the first prototype. It was a brain stimulation device to stimulate the frontal lobe. And it was absolutely incredible. You know, one of the things about medication, there's, you know, some medications do work, but the medications for me is that they were shunting my libido. They made me into like a walking zombie. You know, I wasn't depressed, but I wasn't anything, you know? And so I needed something different. So this device that we built targets frontal lobe activity, so it actually allowed me to be more social, to talk more, to feel more, to empathize more. So it was a completely different approach to medication. And I'm really glad to say that my mental health has improved several folds ever since starting the technology.
Gosh, it's amazing, you know, studying neurostimulation. I mean, wow. And what I like about what you did is you have many individuals, you know, with startups and companies where they're like, you know what, I think I can make money on this. Or I mean, this is personal for you. You're like, things aren't working. And in fact, my friend who, you know, took his life, the medicines weren't working for him. And I mean, this is something that could not only save lives, but I mean, it could just transform how we're treating depression. And, you know, you've found and is now CEO of You, the Mind. You know, talk to us about this company and what you guys are working on.
Yeah, so we build these portable brain stimulation devices. I mean, these are things you can put in your pocket. Straight up. You can fold it. It looks like a headband, looks like a little cap. And they send these small signals, these small electrical signals into the brain to help activate the brain. And we have run clinical trials for Parkinson's disease. We've run clinical trials for Alzheimer's, psychiatric disorders. And the really cool part about our company is that we're also about to release in the next week a new cognitive enhancement device. This is a non-medical product that can be used by healthy individuals to enhance their IQ, decision-making, focus, and mood. So we're doing a whole bunch of stuff at You, the Mind company, and we're super excited about the future.
Gosh, it's exciting. And, you know, one thing that I'm seeing with patients as it pertains to depression or anxiety is it's not that you have ample warning and then you have minutes to hours. You have some people where when they start to feel or decompensate, it's right away. They could be at work. They could be at a child's birthday party. And so something like this that's mobile, can I ask how, you know, what's the time for, is it that people feel better after a series of treatments, or do they seem to get an initial response when using it?
Yeah, so we typically see responses within the first few days. People start to notice some sort of effects. They feel a little bit different, where they're a little bit more calm. You know, they are a little bit more self-aware. And then at around 6 weeks, people start to realize the impact of the technology, and they start to realize the influence the technology has on their motivation, their focus, their brain fog. And from 6 to 12 weeks, that's when the real growth of neuroplasticity occurs, and we see these massive growth in brain connectivity. So it's a slow build-up from 0 to 6 weeks. You start to see some responses, but from 6 to 12 weeks, it's just out of this world.
Gosh, that's wonderful. Huge advantages. You know, I know some people are thinking, Neuralink, we're doing a lot now in tech looking at these, talk to us about the differences between this and Neuralink.
Yeah, so Elon Musk has a company called Neuralink that implants this chip inside the brain using surgery. So you have to get a surgical intervention to have this electrode stationed underneath the skull. And this is going to be used for a wide variety of neurological disorders, but the problem is that it's surgical, and if you want to fix it, you want to tune up, then that's a whole nother problem. So our devices, we are the non-invasive Neuralink. So we are like the alternative to Elon Musk's company, because our devices, you can put in your pocket, You use it for 15 minutes and you can put it on your nightstand. So we don't require any surgical intervention, which allows us to scale up quickly and help millions and millions and billions of people suffering from these mental conditions and making it accessible to them. You don't need a surgery to get it.
Exactly. That's and so it's going to, the one thing about treatment is, even if a treatment is fantastic and exciting, if it's not accessible, if it's not cost of, if it's not realistic for somebody cost wise, they won't approach it. And so I really, really like what you're doing. We're speaking to Mohammed Abulasad. We know him as Mo. I am just amazed at what you've been able to accomplish, with you and your company. Anything else you'd like to share with our listeners in the last minute?
Hey, we are about to release our products for the public, the wellness cognitive enhancement products. These are available coming up in the next 2 weeks. You can learn more about it on uthemind.com. That's the letter U, the mind, MIND.com. You'll be able to see our company's technology and try it for yourself.
Gosh, I love it. Mo, it's so great to talk to you. We can't wait to have you back. We'll definitely check that out. And thank you for all you and your company do.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dahlia. Have a great
Anytime.
day.
You too. 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. Yeah, one of probably the most frustrating things I deal with is drug-resistant, depression and bipolar and anxiety, and patients say the medicines aren't working. And so I'm grateful for innovators such as Mo. Don't go away. We'll be right back. 1-877-DOC-DALI.
Hey guys, it's Clyde. We've had a lot of requests for Ground Zero merchandise, so we put together an online store with a big variety of high-quality items. I'm really excited to let you know about these things. We have a lot to offer you and your loved ones. In addition to our regular apparel, such as t-shirts, beanies, hoodies, and hats, we've expanded our product line with posters, flags, aprons, mugs, and a whole lot more. We also have Ground Zero collectibles, along with a limited edition of items like a Clyde Lewis canvas portrait, a Ground Zero embroidered jacket that will certainly make for great gifts and for interesting conversations with family and friends. And we now offer publications such as Ron Patton's book about mind control, MK Zine, and back copies of the official magazine of Ground Zero while it was in print. Paranoia, the Conspiracy Reader, also coming in 2023, are updated and revised books that I've written. There's a secure and easy-to-use shopping cart for your purchases. So shop today at our official store by going to groundzeromerch.com. Again, that's groundzeromerch.com.
Hey, America. How tired are you of mainstream corporate media's biased narratives and manipulated news? Their dishonesty and attempts to influence this generation have been exposed, put on display for anyone who's even half paying attention. But the New American Magazine has been an honest source of news and commentary for over 50 years. This is your opportunity to receive the stalwart of principled journalism at a deep discount. Picture a beautifully published magazine arriving at your doorstep twice a month, packed with insightful stories written with integrity. It's also available digitally on the New American's mobile app. Get up to speed with intelligent coverage from a freedom perspective. Right now, for a limited time, the New American is available to radio listeners at a 25% discount on a new subscription. Visit thenewamerican.com/radio25 and receive 25% off. Subscribe today at thenewamerican.com/radio25.
We're back. 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So we have some good news for those of us who feel like we need WD-40 on our knees and our hips and our joints because we could barely get out of bed without cricking and creaking and popping and owie. We got some big breakthroughs as it pertains to osteoarthritis care. Of the arthritises, arthritis is a general term for inflammation of the joint. Traumatic arthritis is you spraining an ankle, spraining a knee or shoulder where trauma caused inflammation. Rheumatoid arthritis is autoimmune. There's gouty arthritis, where gout crystals are causing the arthritis. And then osteoarthritis is more the wear and tear, bone use, loss of cartilage, which a lot of us get with time. And so the Advanced Research Projects Agency for Health is an agency within the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, has new innovations for tissue regeneration and osteoarthritis called the NITRO program. And they say they are one step closer to eradicating osteoarthritis by enabling joints to heal themselves. Now, that could be cool. Where we are right now with our arthritis is we have cartilage, which provides shock absorption as well as some barriers so bone doesn't, slide on bone. And when that happens, you start to get bone osteophytes and little irregularities in the bone, and then that causes more inflammation and more swelling, and inflammatory fluid causes more irregularity of the bone, and then it's a vicious cycle. Now, about 15 years ago, I remember talking about on my show how in England, they were trialing making growing cartilage in the lab, where they were able to take a piece of your healthy cartilage and then take it to the lab, grow it, and then reinsert it back into the knee. I think it was in Hampshire, England. And I was like, this is fascinating. This could be the future of arthritis treatment. But then you didn't hear much about that. So interestingly, we have some regeneration of cartilage and bone in osteoarthritic animal models following 2 years of research by the NITRO teams. The NITRO teams are working to regrow real living tissue, returning joints to their healthy state and eliminating evidence of the disease. This is really, really cool. So the ARPA-H program manager is Dr. Russ Urich. He's a DMD MBA. NITRO teams are reshaping this regenerative medicine across all stages, they say, of the OA continuum with 3 technical areas: targeted bone regeneration, targeted cartilage regeneration, and total knee implants composed of living human tissue. So this isn't brand new technology, because like I said, they were trialing this in England. But the fact that we've gotten this close is really, really good. So they're trying to answer the question, what if we can make our joints heal themselves? They say 2 years later, it's not only possible, but quickly becoming a reality. So what happened? Well, at Duke University, they designed 2 injectable time-released combo drug formulations that stimulate bone and articular cartilage. This is coming from the ARPA-H website. So what they're trying to do is, rather than take a piece of your cartilage, grow it in a lab, and then reinsert it, why can't they stimulate the regeneration within your current knee? The therapeutics for the bone and articular cartilage regeneration could be used alone or together. And Duke researchers have designed an intravenous time-release formulation that promotes targeted cartilage repair for patients with OA or osteoarthritis in multiple joints. Because that's another issue we have. I mean, not only is it my right knee, but it's my left knee and my left hip and my right hip and my right shoulder and my left shoulder. And I just have all over. Okay. It's not just one knee. They say the therapeutics require only a single clinic visit, no more than once a year, to relieve joint pain and restore function by regenerating tissue lost to OA. An affiliated spin-out company will commercialize these 3 products in a cost-effective way to ensure access for all Americans. Now, this sounds cool. This was from Duke University. Not only can they play basketball well, but wow. Now, University of Colorado Boulder has developed 2 new therapies that help aging or damaged joint repair themselves within weeks in animal studies. The first technology is a patented particle delivery system. They inject it into the joint, provides intermittent bursts of a repurposed regenerative drug for months. For patients with significant cartilage lesions, the second technology is a cocktail of, not that kind of cocktail, of engineered proteins that are injected arthroscopically and cured into place for focused regeneration. Renovare Therapeutics has been established as an independent company to commercialize their therapies quickly and accessibly. I have not looked up their stock price, but it's Renovare Therapeutics. I don't even know if they're on the NASDAQ, but I know people are like, okay, well, I got to invest. But hopefully this moves forward. Columbia is a third university involved. They have engineered a living 3D printed human knee on a biodegradable scaffold that is infused with adult stem cells, either from the patient's own body, lipoaspirate from the abdomen, and boy, do I have a lot of lipo they could aspirate, lipo's fat, or from adult-inducible pluripotent stem cells. After implantation, these cells regenerate the joint's natural cartilage. I know, I had you guys at cocktail. I know, they had me at cocktail too. But anyway, for this, after implantation, the cells regenerate the joint's natural cartilage and bone tissues. As the scaffold disappears, the new biomaterials allow the bone replacement structure to balance strength, ductility, manufacturability using 3D printing. It's cool. Columbia's design mirrors the structure of current metal and plastic replacement joints, so surgeons can implant it using existing technologies and will have a higher rate of clinical adoption. Nova Joint Orthopedics has been established as an independent company to commercialize their breakthrough technologies and make them accessible to all OA patients. So you could see there's a variety of different ways they are handling this. And this is important because if millions of Americans have osteoarthritis, for any of you that have ever hurt your knees skiing or snowboarding or whatever, running, you notice that now your other joints are starting to affect. In fact, interestingly, I had MRIs on both my knees. I hurt my right knee skiing on a black diamond in medical school. So we're talking in the 90s. And that was my right knee. I had a fall about a year and a half ago, heard a pop in my left knee. I was like, oh man, had MRIs of both knees, my left knee more degenerated than the right. And the right is the one I had the injury on. So for any of you that have ever had an injury, I mean, I expected the right, because I injured it first, to be more damaged. But apparently the compensation. Now, I know you guys can say, yeah, but you fell and hurt your knee. Yeah, but we're looking at chronic changes within the MRI. I had more chronic changes with that knee, and that knee never even bothered me. But because once you have one joint off, other joints get affected. And now I'm feeling stuff in my hips and all that. And thank God I can still exercise. I could still walk, hike, run, play pickleball, do what I need to do a day at Disneyland. But I got to tell you, once that stops, the weight comes back, and the disability grows. So they say every Nitro team is going to follow strict clinical standards, including a program requirement that more than 50% of enrolled participants are women, and trial participants reflect the populations most affected by OA, osteoarthritis, including American Indians and Alaska Native communities. The team's move to commercialization, ARPA provides tools and support to allow people to have access. Because a lot of you are looking at this going, okay, well, that sounds expensive. It is expensive. But they say they're going to work to make this cheaper. So ARPA-H, right, which is the Advanced Research Projects Agency for Health within the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, is having that in mind and hopefully prioritizing that. So that is huge. You know, not only is it all about heart and cancer and dementia, which are biggies that cost a lot of money, but our osteoarthritis is a huge cause of morbidity and mortality. And the less we're able to move, the worse it is for our health. So keep going, guys. I think this is fantastic news. 1-877-Doc-Dolly. Don't go away.
Can you believe, with all the recent violent protests, looting, and destruction, some areas are considering either defunding or abolishing the police? At a time when America's neighborhoods need the protection of police the most, some elected officials would rather create more chaos by playing politics. If you're sick of elected officials caving in to demands of the radical left, you're not alone. It's time we stand up and declare our support for local police. The majority of police officers are important partners in protecting our God-given rights. If you prefer freedom over chaos, then learn how you can help protect the local police that serve your community. Call today and request your free Support Your Local Police info packet. Dial 800-JBS-USA-1. That's 800-JBS-USA-1. Request your free Support Your Local Police info packet by calling 800-JBS-USA-1 today.